recorded live in the studios of Brewer Street Mafia. This is a Red Dog Fred production.
And now, your number one rated show, The Mike Weatherford Show. Here's your host, Mike Weatherford.
Hey, welcome back to the Mike Weatherford Show. I'm your host, Mike Weatherford. I got a question I want to ask y'all out there. You know, was it one small step for man, or was it one giant question for mankind?
2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
On July the 16th, 1969, NASA landed 2 men on the moon. Or did they? Was it history, or was it a hoax? For over half a century, the moon landing has stood as humanity's greatest achievement. But beneath the incredible images and iconic words, whispers of doubt have persisted. Tonight, we're going to rip open the files of Apollo 11. We'll examine the evidence that troubled skeptics for decades. Hear explosive new claims that could shatter everything we thought we knew about that historic summer day in 1969. Joining me tonight to discuss this extremely hot topic is my co-host Jonathan Lodge and our special guest, expert researcher Tim Greer. Tim has spent years gathering evidence that suggests one of humanity's proudest moments might be his greatest deception. Before we dive in, let's take a look and finish up this footage that changed history, or did it?
One giant leap for mankind. Tony, this is so great you can't believe it. I believe it, Charlie. It's raining, John. Look at it go, would you, Charlie? You got all your steering, it's great. Oh, this is going to be some kind of different ride. Hippity hoppity, hippity hopping over hill and dale. Da 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 da. Hippity hopping along. One ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good.
We're burning flight.
That's right.
Looks good, flight.
Observation shot flight.
Roger.
Stand by for splashdown.
All right, Tim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Let me clear this up. I didn't say I was a professional at anything. I just got a whole bunch of unanswered questions I'm going to ask y'all about.
You just seen that video right there.
Yep.
You think that's a bunch of hogwash?
Well, what I do feel like is they left somebody on the moon, because if y'all notice when that spaceship took off, that camera moved up. So who's this man left on the moon?
Well, Jonathan, I didn't think of that.
Think about that now. What we just saw is the Apollo 11 leaving the moon before we get anything else. And as they left, I just showed this to my wife. It blew her mind. I said, did you notice that the camera moved as it went up in space? And then we talk about as old as me, born at the same time, 55 years ago. They didn't have drones. They didn't have GoPros. They had a camera and a cameraman. So somebody got left on the moon.
Jonathan, did you notice that? It did tilt up when it left.
You know, one of the more fascinating things I think about the moon landing is in recent years, in the last 10 years, the government has come out and claimed that they have faked a lot of the footage, and a lot of the footage has been faked through the Freedom of Information Act. Yes. So, this is no longer in the realm of conspiracy that a lot of this footage was faked. So now, what specific footage was faked? I think that is probably the question that we're asking today. But I don't think a lot of people understand that or know that the government has just claimed and made the claim like, we faked a lot of this footage.
I didn't know that. It's good to hear. Tim, I asked you a question. What got you interested in the moon landing, and what made you're just a normal guy? You live in North Carolina and you live in Arkansas.
That's right.
You're a businessman.
Yep.
What got you to thinking, even consider the moon landing? Then, secondly, think it is a hoax. Tell me a little bit of history about yourself.
Well, where I got started is when I was 15-year-old. I was a little grunt, and I was helping this guy older than me put in satellite dishes. And I was the one digging a hole, digging a trench going in there. If you remember, you probably don't remember, but you remember the satellite dishes was this big.
They were huge.
Right? Well, we always had to point them south, due south, so opposite of where the compass was set. And it didn't matter where I was at. It didn't matter what part of the county. It didn't matter how high I was. It didn't matter what part of the yard it was. I pointed them all exactly the same way. Okay, so if you remember back then, you would set it and then it would move. It had an arm on it. It moved back and forth just a little bit.
When you change that knob in there,
exactly.
it moved that big set. It's like a rotor on it.
Back then, you could tell when it was turned up who was watching porn. You remember that?
Yeah.
But anyway, it was around 86 when the Challenger crashed or blew up, or whatever case. I don't guess it crashed.
No, it
blew up. And it was big in the news, and I started paying attention. I didn't really pay a lot of attention in school, but I started paying attention to this.
Right.
And they was telling us that we were spinning at 1,000 and some change miles an hour.
Right.
And here I am going to school, and them telling me this, and me putting in these satellite dishes, and I can't even spell satellite, but I got it right every time that I could aim that thing and hit something in the sky that supposedly was spinning at 1,000 miles an hour.
Right.
And that just kept in the back of my mind for a long, long time. And so after that, I got to looking at, this was years and years later, I got to looking into conspiracy theories, even to where that name came from, and looking into all these other things that could have been lied to us. We're about to find out in the next 4 days who really killed Kennedy. So obviously we all know here that our government has been lying to us. So where I really started looking into this is just like when you had history and TV. 10, 15 years ago, reality shows was a big thing.
Yes, right.
And I was approached. I've been on some moonshiner shows. I've been on some car shows and stuff like that. And there was always a script, and the people, they fooled the people. Or they tried to fool the people, but if you think about this, they was a cameraman, so they was really no reality shows because you wasn't going to do anything that you wasn't supposed to do because you seen the cameraman sitting there looking at, just like all these cameras sitting here looking at us.
Right.
So just like I brought up a few minutes ago, it says on the intro that you just done that this is a small step for man and a big step for mankind, and it showed him stepping off. Well, the truth is, the first man that stepped on the moon was the one that set the camera up.
Well,
I mean, and I think that same man, the reason you don't know who he is, because they left his ass there. They took off, and he sat there with a camera.
They come back and get him, I bet.
Well, I haven't seen that footage. But I just started looking into stuff like this. If you go look at this contraption, we've got pictures of it that they claim that went to the moon and back. That is as big. It is actually, let's see right here. It is 10'7" tall by 12'10" wide.
What's that photo right there that he got?
All right, so that right there is the Apollo 11. All right, now they're telling us that 3 astronauts got in there.
Okay.
I don't think that's Apollo 11.
It may be a newer one. It may be 15.
Yeah.
All right. But you're right, because Apollo 11 did not carry a moon buggy.
That's right.
So this is one of the Apollos. All of them the same to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
None of them left Earth. But anyway, they're telling us that they took all the oxygen. I don't know if y'all have ever been scuba diving before, but one tank lasts 30 minutes. One scuba tank lasts 30 minutes. All right, so they took enough oxygen for 3 men to go for, what was it, 6 days. That moon buggy, now we're not talking about 11 now, we're talking about 15,
Okay.
Apollo 15. They took that moon buggy, they plugged it up and they folded it up and put it in there and brought it back with them also, because it's at NASA now. And they want us to believe all this stuff. Now, you got to think about this. This was Hollywood back in the late 60s and early 70s. And whatever was on there, you was going to believe it, because it was black and white TV. And we really, in all reality, was just getting used to TV.
Gotcha.
You understand? You remember that?
I agree with that.
A little younger than us, but I remember sitting there watching when Walter Cronkite told me Elvis died. Yeah. Well, now he's preaching over here in Arkansas. I mean, it's just the whole world's a lie.
That's
you know.
right. Yeah.
But anyway, I got into this, and I got into researching what people call flat Earth, and I'm not hooked on either one.
Right.
I do know that this right here is fake. I mean, if any kind of logic, you being a drag racer, we know how much fuel it takes to get down a track. Mm-hmm. So they're telling us that the moon is 239,000 miles away. All right, and this thing right here, this is later on, but they telling us that they traveled in that little buggy that was on there, that little tinfoil.
Spaceship.
It looks like if you think about this, I believe that they took a trampoline and started adding to it. But anyway, so they're telling us it took 76 hours to get there.
Right.
All right.
To the moon?
To the moon. 76 hours. That's one way.
Okay.
76 hours, and then they hung out a couple of days, and then they come back. And then they had enough fuel to get there and back.
Right.
But you know as well as I do, for fuel, what you got to have.
You got to have a tank for it.
You got to have a tank.
Yep.
And a strike of spark. What you got to have?
Yeah, you got to have fuel, air, and spark.
Exactly.
But how does don't a rocket ship run a little bit different? It works off of thrust. What's the fuel? What fuel did they use?
Now, I found out just a couple of days ago from the pilot that we just had on the phone earlier, that actually jet airplanes do not run on fuel when they're up at their altitude. I was told that. Now, I don't know exactly how that works, but I run across a video of it, and then I asked him, because he knows way more about it than me and you do, and he said you're actually right. But you're moving, so this contraption that we got here.
the spaceship.
Think about this now. Did y'all see a steering wheel? Now, we're going through space.
Right.
And all of us watching Star Wars and everything, there's all kinds of stuff up there flying around, and you have no way of controlling it. You're basically floating.
Didn't they do it with thrust here on one side?
Now, that's exactly what they say, but
that's right. I'm just questioning. I'm asking.
What if there was no air, if there was no oxygen there, what was they thrusting off of? So before we started, you was talking about putting your arm out the window and how much.
Yeah, you're right.
What did we push against? You understand?
Yeah.
It's not oxygen. They saying it wasn't oxygen. So either they're lying to us about oxygen, or they didn't go. Because there's no way any combustion engine of any spark, just like there was sparks that come off the bottom of that.
When it launched.
Off
the moon.
Off the moon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they left that cameraman there now. But I just got to looking into this stuff and basically just, I don't know,
You just don't think it happened.
I don't.
And you're not the only one. Now, to give you credit, I don't want to throw you to the wolves.
Yeah.
You drove a long way, 8 hours to get here.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'd talked to him on the phone a couple times. You know, we had never really had a conversation because I don't want to go into my shows knowing.
That's right.
You know, and you was kind of wondering because I didn't ask no information.
That's right.
I don't want to throw you out to the wolves, but there's a lot of people that agrees with you. Mm. Once I knew you wanted to come on the show, you called me and you said, I'd like to come on and talk about the moon landing.
Yep.
And I got to researching, John, you too. There's a lot more people out there that says that the moon landing was fake than you would believe, Jonathan.
Oh,
you noticed that?
There's books and everything.
Have you noticed that, Jonathan? There's a lot of people that says it didn't happen.
Yeah, I think there's a really neat movie by Christopher Nolan called Interstellar. It won a bunch of Oscars. It's got Matthew McConaughey in it, and there's a little scene in that movie where they're the kid gets in trouble because he believes that the moon landings exist, and they're actually teaching in the public schools at this time that the moon landings no longer exist.
I remember.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was like kind of a hat tip to the fact, and their claim was in the movie. Their claim was that we faked the moon landing because we were in an arms race with the Soviets.
That's what I've heard.
And that we were trying to bankrupt the Soviets, and they beat us literally in every categorical way in the space race except for one, which was getting to the moon.
That's right.
Yeah. And what's also interesting, I would say.
Did Russia claim to go to the moon too?
No. So we're the only people that have gone to the moon. But I will say this, speaking of Russia, what's interesting is we did send things to the moon. It's different from there's a very whether someone went to the moon is what we are talking about.
Yep.
But for sure we have sent things to the moon because Russia, China, India, independent astronomers have confirmed and seen the things on the moon.
Right.
And we also use a laser reflector, multiple laser reflectors that have been left on the moon that we can see. You and I can verify this with very cheap technology at this point. So, like, we know things are on the moon, but the distance you're talking about, people don't understand how far the moon actually is.
Yeah.
It is so astronomically far. And you were talking about earlier that you would need to steer something. I do have to push back a little bit on that because there is nothing in space. Once you get outside of our atmosphere, once you get outside of the gravitational things that is holding the space debris and space dust, so to speak, once you get out of those fields, you can go any direction for hundreds of thousands of miles and not hit anything. So
you don't think we'll run across no stars?
No way, Jose.
So what are we looking at when we're looking up there?
So no, I mean, so it takes for you in the vastness of space, which, by the way, combustion is happening in space. You said there's no combustion in space. There is. We can see them right now. We can go outside and see the combustion happening in space, right?
Oh, you're talking about the
stars.
Yeah, that's right.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The sun.
Something's actually like
so
that.
there
Yeah.
is mechanisms that we know that don't require oxygen for combustion.
Either that or there is oxygen there.
Right.
One of the two.
One of the two. Right,
Okay.
right. Or you're splitting. I don't know enough about hydrogen, whatever that's going on in stars or whatever. But I will say this, though. The moon is so extremely far from our planet. And it was, if we sent a human being there, it was by far the greatest technological feat, including the internet, AI, all these things that we've ever done because of, like you're saying, to speak under your point, how much fuel, all of these things that it would have to happen. And so you say, oh, well, let's just go back and look at the technology. And here's the problem. Here's the problem. NASA themselves has claimed they've lost the technology that we used to send to the moon. This is on New York Times. This is not debatable. This is not a conspiracy.
And we haven't been back.
Again, I'm saying from not a conspiratorial
Well, to
point.
me, that kind of proves
They
Tim's
lost
point.
it. They lost the technology.
They didn't have the technology to start with, so they say we lost it.
How do
So
you
we
lose
just pull
the
it.
technology?
So we just pull it off.
Yeah. So they didn't have it to start with.
Yeah, how do you lose the technology? That's
right.
the greatest
Right.
technological achievement you could possibly imagine.
That's right.
You could possibly imagine.
How can they lose it?
How did you we deleted the server? What is? Are you Hillary
Bullshit.
Clinton?
You can
Are you
report-
Hillary Clinton? Where are we deleting servers? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that they didn't. If I heard what you're saying. Yeah, they has that. The question I have about going to the moon is very simple. You just nailed it on the head. You said that's the biggest thing we've ever done in the history of human beings.
Right.
Is go to the moon.
Right.
Unless there's something back in the pyramid days that there's all kinds of.
Sure.
There's all kind of stuff.
Yeah, there's all kind of. Yeah, the
Yeah.
pyramids are a
Yeah,
question
where
mark.
did they get
There
it?
That's a
is.
crazy
I'm not
one.
going to go in
Yeah,
there, but you
yeah.
understand there
Yeah.
might be some technology we're
Right.
not familiar
Right.
with. Okay, we
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
agree on
Sure.
that. And as far as we know, that was the biggest technology in the world. Go to the moon. Why didn't we go back?
I mean, you want the official answer?
No, in our opinion, we're all opinions now.
I mean, why would you?
Why not?
Why?
The technology. Listen to this. In a 1984 Buick, I know that. That's what I do for a living. Believe it or not, I am a mechanic. The technology in an 84 Buick computer, which they had small computers in 84, 85, they had computers. You know that.
Yeah.
There was more technology in that computer than there was in the first Apollo that went to the moon.
And again, this is like
Now the computers, there's enough computers now. Why can't they take that technology and repeat it?
right. And so
Answer that one, Tim. Why? It would
I
all
don't
the
believe.
technology.
Well, you're exactly right. Well, it's just like this.
Yeah,
You know, there's
1984.
way more technology in his phone.
If you got a 1984 Buick in your yard out there, one of them old big Buick LeSabres, or you got a big Pontiac Parisian or a big Chevrolet Caprice, 84 model, you got a computer on that car. They'll tell you the technology in that computer was more technology than we had in 1969. But we look what we've got now. Cars got 6 to 12 computers on, depending on which car you got. Why can't they repeat that technology? Now, that's a good question. Yeah,
why can't, if they lost it, why couldn't they rebuild it?
If we lost it, I understand. We lost it. It's gone. But with the technology we have nowadays, it should be so simple to go to the moon.
I mean, we do have a
Now, Elon Musk says we're
crazy
going
billionaire that is.
yeah, Elon Musk
And
said
what
it.
I want to show you, every president since then said we was going back.
Yeah.
Every single one of them said,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're going back."
So
We're
what?
going
So
back.
you found out by your whatever your. You said you're not a researcher. What do you call yourself?
Well, I am a researcher. I just dig. I just
Not an
get
expert.
on. I just get on subjects.
Yeah, let's don't call you an expert.
No, what I do is I just raise questions, just
Yeah.
like that deal. Why did they leave that cameraman there?
That is. Let's hit on that just a minute. I know he's got a lot to talk about. I know that, but that is a good question. I don't think. Tell me my ear back here. I've got one of the best producers in the world. He's worked for all these major TV companies. Kevin, was there? I know you're older enough to know. I think you're about 90 now. Tell me my ear. Was there technology back then that you're aware of that could angle the camera? Tell me my ear. In 69. Are you getting broadcast out, or are you just telling me in my ear? Okay. He said no.
That's right.
He said maybe a Commodore computer. 64, I think he said. That's what they went to the moon on, 64 Commodore. So you don't think that picture where they showed that following that thing launching up was probably done with a computer-controlled cameras like the 5 or 6 I'm looking at in my studio right here. We don't. He said he don't know how.
Yeah.
So there you go. You heard it in your ear too.
Yep.
So that right there is a good one.
So let's
but
go
that
to
could
that.
be the part of where you were saying they did admit, Jonathan, they did
Yeah.
fake some of that, right? Remember you
Yeah,
said
no, they've admitted that. Yeah,
that could be part of it. Go
Yeah.
ahead now. Go
So
ahead.
let's go to that video of Buzz talking about to the little child.
Okay, he'll bring it up. Video talking to the little child there. Whenever you get to it, Kevin, tell me my ear you're going. Yeah, he did. Buzz talked to a kid, but are you taking it out of context or is that the whole story?
No, that's.
Here it goes.
I've only seen as much as everybody else has.
Okay.
You know, but he didn't. He was not going to lie to that little girl.
All right, and you're ready to go.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. It's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen. So in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going.
That reminds me of Kamala Harris.
Reminds me of Joe Biden.
Yeah, Kamala Harris. Seriously. What the hell did he say?
Basically, he said we didn't go.
That's what I thought. But
Yep.
but
then he mixed it up on the end. And
Yeah.
He wanted to mix it up, throw your little brain out.
yeah,
a little
but
bit.
I mean, was he having a stroke? I mean, seriously, but that was Buzz, right?
Yep.
He did say we didn't go.
He said that multiple times.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's-
what, is he
there's a bunch of-
lying or is he just trying to cause trouble?
Has
What
he
do you-
lost his mind?
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, there's a couple different
Well, I'm
options.
going to tell you one thing. If he did go, he didn't remember.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, something happened to him up there.
It did. It did. Something
Now, I
happened.
heard about them men in black. They can snap your fingers and he'll forget all about it.
Oh, it's possible.
Yep.
But I heard he drank a lot. But also, in his defense, I don't know if this is true. And I'm not saying that this is true. I want to make it perfectly clear. But I heard and read that it bothered him so bad that he was lying about going to the moon that he drank a lot. You ever heard that?
Now, I have heard, I do know personally,
Yeah.
people that have got a NASA history that are, what do you call them when they don't come out of their house? Recluse.
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 Yeah, I'm hillbilly.
Like a spider.
They do not want nobody to ask them any questions.
So can I just like pause for a second? And
Yeah.
I just want to explain to the viewers, because I think this is important, the idea of conspiracy at scope. And so one of the things that people say when they're like, there's no way, when you talk about any major large conspiracy, they're going to say, I reject that claim that could ever happen because of how many people were involved.
That's right.
Right? And so the way in which, and this is, there's been, you could take years of psychology courses to understand this, but the way in which conspiracy at scope works is, it's very simple. It's compartmentalizing. So you compartmentalize.
That's exactly right.
You compartmentalize what your specific job is. So Tim's specific job is the math. Your specific job is the fuel ratio. And never does Tim and Mike talk.
And that we do not know what their job is.
They don't know what the other person's job is.
That
And
is
so,
exactly how the military's run.
Right. So you, and we have done this. When I say we, I mean like human beings have pulled off multiple times conspiracy at scope.
Yep.
Through this very method.
Yep.
And that in itself is not hidden. That's not debatable. This isn't something, if you're watching this at home, you shouldn't be outraged by that idea because we do it as people. So the question is, that, in other words, that's not a good defense. That's not a good defense to say we did go to the moon because of how many people were involved.
That's exactly right.
That is not a good defense to say that something like that happened.
And you started checking, and you said when you come on the show, I want to plant seeds of doubt. Remember?
Okay.
That's what you told me.
The
Give
next
me some
thing,
doubts.
All right, how did the moon buggy get there? In that little book,
How big would you say it was?
It is the moon buggy. Basically, you can look at it.
There
It looks
it
like
is
it's
right there.
Basically, now I can't remember. I think it was 37 or some crazy amount of. No, it was $370 million to build that buggy back in the 70s. All right, so they're telling us that folded up and went into that 10 by 7 by 12 by 10 capsule with 3 men, oxygen, fuel, and food.
Right.
That was there. Now, to be honest with you, that was the first real big red flag for me.
That is on probably in the desert somewhere. They're getting ready to do they worked them in the desert. I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's probably why they gonna have their head stuff on there. That's
Yeah.
not on the moon. That's not I think that's probably when they was working with it.
And you're probably right. That's probably been. But I will tell you one thing: if it was on the moon, somebody had to take that picture, and there was only 3 went up there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not the moon. I
Yeah.
guarantee you.
Yep.
But
And there are things out there that you have to realize that obviously.
Yeah.
But the question is well, another thing. Let's go back to the oxygen and scuba diving.
Yeah.
There's 3 things that you're not going to make that God ain't going to let you make. You know what them 3 things are?
What's that?
Blood, air, and water. Right. I don't care who you are. You're not going to make them 3 things. You cannot make them 3
I got
things.
you. I agree.
All right. So to take oxygen there, you're not going to make oxygen. We can't make oxygen today. The people that have the little pouches on that they breathe in the oxygen,
Yeah,
that's a cleanser. That
Yeah.
cleanses
Yeah, I
air. It don't,
understand.
they're not making oxygen.
Could they have rebreathers?
I don't know what a rebreather is, to be honest with you, but
It scrubs the air. It takes the oxygen when you expel it. It cleans
Yeah.
it, scrubs it, and sends it back. You know what I'm talking about, John? Could that be? Don't they have them in scuba
Submarines.
diving?
but
Yeah,
how?
submarines,
but
yeah.
No, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
But I looked at it and I went scuba diving many,
Yeah.
many times, and these are just things that
Right.
raises questions. I tell you another thing.
My-
Under the sea looks
Yeah.
a lot like the moon.
Do what? Yeah, it does.
I mean, when I went scuba diving the first
Yeah.
time, I got to looking. I said, "Well, this is a desert."
NASA used to explore under the sea, and then they stopped.
I believe they still are.
And then they said they stopped.
Yep.
Yeah, I think a better question here is, because of everything that's going on in the world right now, is NASA itself is such a behemoth of a lying government agency
Yep.
that have been caught with their pants down so many times.
Yep.
And it is this cult of science. I call it scientism, right? You might have heard the term, that follows hook, hook, line, and sinker
Yep.
this dirty government slush fund that it is.
And we got
That
got
was
plenty
started
of
by
going.
Nazis, by
Yeah.
the way. It was started 100% by Nazis.
Exactly. Matter of fact, you can put that up there. The guy that we just talked to
Right
on
there.
the phone,
There he is.
he actually met this guy.
He should
Warner
have been
Von Braun.
hung.
Yep. And then if you go to his tombstone, now this guy that you wasn't in here a while ago, but Mike was, I had my pilot on the phone. And this is actually on his tombstone, and it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament swelled his hand," basically shows his handiwork. All right. Now, he put that on his tombstone. All right, so the flat earthers believe now this whole deal. Regular people are known, globe people. They call it.
Globalist, yeah.
What do they call it? The Orion Belt.
Yeah.
All right, so we can't get through it.
The firmament.
Yeah. All right, so it's called the firmament in the Bible, but NASA calls it the Orion Belt. That we can't get through it. There's radiation there. Now they're telling us we can't get through it now, but we got through it in '69. So there's more questions that you can raise. But this guy Warner Von Braun,
Nazi. Yep.
prayed on one knee before every class that he taught after he left NASA.
Yeah,
And I got an eyewitness that went there.
there's redemption for all. But,
Exactly
but
right.
Here's the deal. NASA was started by Nazis.
Oh, yeah,
That should
100%.
have-
Yeah,
that-
the V2 rockets. That's where they got all
Right.
of our,
And-
the bomb come this guy. This guy right here is one developed a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, but that guy in particular,
Yeah.
when you didn't work fast enough in the V2 rocket
Yeah.
plant,
There he is with
he
Walt
killed
Disney.
Jews.
Oh, I'm sure he did. I'm
Yeah,
not taking
he-
up for him. I'm saying that's where the nuclear bomb come from.
yeah.
He is the devil right there.
Yep.
But he was paid to do that, I'm sure.
Yep.
Hey, we got to take a commercial break. They're in my ear right now. We got to take a commercial. I got to pay the bills, Jonathan.
That's right.
Of course we've been lied to by the government. Okay, I get that. Of course you can fake pictures. I get that. Do I believe we went to the moon? No. And you ought to sue your brain for non-support if you do believe we went to the moon. Nobody ever went to the moon. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. 50 years and we ain't been back, got more technology in your hand that they had to send a rocket up 50 years ago. Of course, we've never been to the moon, okay? Him and all these Twitter people, okay, we've never been to the moon, so go ahead and clip it and get me a Newsweek this week, whatever. Shut up.
Well, there we go. Already got a winner. We're moving right
There
along.
you go.
There you go. So, Tim, we've been talking about, did we really go to the moon? And you're sitting here planting seeds in mine and Jonathan and my viewers' head. I'm going to just sit back, and I'm going to let you come up with a bunch of reasons, just start spilling them out, explaining to us why you, Tim Greer, don't think we went to the moon.
One thing I want to specify. Let's just ask both of y'all. Do y'all think the Clintons ever killed anybody?
Personally, like you think? Are you asking if Hillary, personally,
if their friends list has got smaller for some reason?
It has.
Well, one of their attorneys recently killed himself by hanging himself with an extension cord and then shooting himself with a shotgun from 3 feet away.
Yep.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
All right, so the reason I bring it up is if I did have the proof, the absolute proof, I'd probably fall out in the road here in just a few minutes.
Yeah,
Mike, we don't have no proof. Get us all killed.
So what I'm doing is I'm planting seeds, and y'all go to your own. Now, would you be Hillary Clinton's friend?
No.
Okay, so would you? So my point is the only thing I can give you is a theory.
Right.
If you understand what I'm saying. Now,
Well,
we've been told.
You give us reason to believe that we didn't go to the moon.
I mean, do we know if? I mean, I don't think maybe the Clintons had something. I mean, their friend list just falls off, So in everything that we're talking about here, if we had 100% proof,
right,
we would wind up shooting ourselves twice
in the back of the head.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, one person that I just have to bring up that fell off the friends list because we just keep forgetting this as a country.
Yep.
That was really good friends with Bill Clinton. That had a portrait of Bill Clinton on his private island of Bill Clinton wearing a blue dress.
That's right.
And flew and picture after and was just really, really good friends with Jeffrey Epstein. I just want to just Just to the viewers out there, don't forget that.
Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
So go ahead. Sorry.
Well, so there's a guy that's specialized in the moon landing.
Right.
His name is Brad Sidrell.
I know who you're talking about.
All right.
He got
He's
punched
the
in the
one.
mouth.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yep.
So he's got books and everything, and he has actually been threatened, and they've tried to kill him a couple times. Matter of fact, supposedly he was poisoned a couple times. So I'm not going to cross that bridge right now. I don't want to say,
Yeah.
but obviously they was trying to stop him for some reason. And he's got books, and I put all this together where you can go to my website, and it says NASA lies. And another thing,
It's called you got it up, or
yeah, bonafidetruth.com.
Right.
Bonafidetruth.com. You can go in there and click on there and just start watching videos. Matter of fact, the video to the right here
Yeah.
is one of the astronauts that was on the Challenger that is still alive.
It blew up.
Yeah, well, they all have been found.
Okay.
You didn't hear about that. I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I've seen the conspiracies.
I'm just see. Y'all don't know what I know, what I don't know. I'm just letting y'all convince
Yeah.
me. Go ahead.
I
That's
don't
my
know.
job. See,
I
I'm
don't
not
know
real
anything.
smart. Y'all
Yeah.
know I'm not real smart. How many times you heard me say I'm smart? I'm
Yeah.
not. You know me, John. I'm not real smart.
Yeah. I don't know anything either. I'm just
That's
listening.
right.
On my Facebook, I've posted many times. If I say what I know,
Yeah.
I only say what I can, because if I say what I know, I'd have no platform at all.
I got you.
I probably wouldn't be alive. You know,
got you.
not that I've got no more proof than anybody else. The only thing I'm doing is raising questions where you can go look and see for yourself, and you come up with a conclusion. If you hang out with Hillary Clinton, could you kill yourself?
Okay.
You know? And that's basically what I'm doing. Is you just you look
give me, lay them out here to me about the moon landing. Start giving me something to make Mike say, "Damn it, I got to pick my phone up and go look and see what he's talking about."
I guess the biggest thing is, just like me and you talked about, is the fuel to get there.
Right.
All right, is 239,000 miles away. Think
What-
about that.
wonder what
Think
kind of-
about putting 239,000 miles
Worth
on
of
a
fuel.
car.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
All right, so they're saying that it took 76 hours to get there, and that is running steady. It's at
Somebody in the back, give me some miles per hour. How many
all
miles?
right, that will
Somebody
be
get your phone out.
3,144 miles per hour.
Okay.
Steady.
You already got it. Okay.
Steady for 76 hours.
Okay.
In that trampoline looking basic
3,200 mile an hour.
3144
32.
for 76 hours
So
to do 239,000 miles.
In 76.
And that's one way. And then he had enough fuel to get back, and he left the cameraman.
So do you believe any satellites have left lower
I don't
Earth orbit?
know. I could go into a whole other deal with that.
Do you believe any satellites have left
I believe
lower
that they're.
Earth orbit?
I believe that they're balloons, because NASA is the biggest buyer of helium in the world. So I do believe there's balloons, and a matter of fact, we've seen them on the news that they have fell out of the sky.
Yeah.
You know, but as far as all right, so let's go back to what got me started on this years ago. Is them telling us that globe right there spins at 1,000 miles an hour, and them telling me that I aimed it at a satellite.
A low Earth orbiting satellite.
It could
Yeah.
be. It
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
All right. So whatever it is.
Right.
All right. So we don't know. We don't know when the sky stops, and when space starts.
Well, the reason I ask is like they've sent the different Voyager, Voyager. So that's what I'm asking. Like, do you believe Voyager 2 happened? Like they shot a thing past
The
Pluto?
way I have to look at this is if you lied to me, I'm gonna have to question everything you do.
I agree. I don't
All right,
disagree with
so
that.
now,
All right, I
basically-
want to show something right here. Kevin, see if you can zoom in on this right here. My producer, I know I asked a lot of you, but I want you to try to zoom in on that with one of the cameras as close as you can. Just, I know they're coming in too. I know it takes a minute to get one of these there's a camera moving. They're going to zoom in, and I want to show this right here. Okay, that top one is the space shuttle. Is that right? You try to get that on there, but you didn't give it to us in time enough.
Yep.
That top one is the space shuttle, right? It runs 17,500 miles an hour. We're told. And that bottom one is what
is the name of that?
That
one?
ain't a U-57. That's not one of them.
What is that?
Blackbird. That's not
SR-71.
That's not. I don't think it is. But anyway, whatever it is, it's made like a needle.
Yep.
And it only runs 2,200 mile an hour. If these numbers are correct that you sent me, sent me this yourself.
Yeah, and I looked it up.
Okay. Yeah. The 17,500 mile an hour versus 2,200 mile an hour. And folks, this goes back to my drag racing days. And all I want to tell you, this right there, aerodynamically, I don't know if them numbers are correct. I'm just going by what Tim gave me. So don't say I'm spreading.
And I'm
rumors.
just as smart as Google.
I am, that's right. But what I'm saying is that first one I showed, that space shuttle, the 17,500 mile an hour, it's just about as aerodynamic as a sheet of damn plywood.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
That bottom one looks like a needle, and it don't run nowhere near as fast. Well, that could be. My producer saying there's less drag in space. It doesn't matter. The drag is the drag. Drag makes heat. That's why they got to have those heat insulators on them things they put up there, they claim. But anyway, to run that thing 2,200 miles an hour, if these numbers are right, all my years of drag racing, being inside of a wind tunnel, not inside a wind tunnel, watching the wind tunnel, smoking it and all, for my years of drag racing, it blows my damn mind. How something that looks like that just to run 2,200 mile an hour, if them numbers are correct that you was giving me, and the one that space shuttle to run 17,000 mile an hour does not make no sense to me. It goes against everything that I was taught in drag
Now
racing.
that is a lot more aerodynamic than that trampoline with the playhouse on top of it.
It just doesn't. I don't know. Somebody out there aerodynamically, correct me where I'm wrong. Maybe it's changed since the early 2000s when I was racing and doing all this 200 miles. I run 300 mile an hour if you want. Well, 286 mile an hour is how fast I run in a quarter mile. But to tell me what I learned in aerodynamic class is a lie. If these numbers right here is correct, now I'm just taking your word, Tim. You understand? You see,
the only thing I done is I Googled it.
That right there blows my mind. But anyway, that's
now that airplane, the one on the bottom.
Yeah.
They actually, the nose of it starts turning red.
They will. Yeah. Yeah, they will.
I think you're the one told me that.
Yeah. I didn't say you that, but I know what heat does.
Yeah.
Yeah, heat does. Heat,
So there's no way.
The biggest friction is heat. There's a 25 time. I'm not going to go. Go ahead. That's not my.
But that's just another thing that I put together that
right.
That it just don't add up.
That doesn't. Does that add up to you, Jonathan?
If you're making me steelman this, I would say that
just look at those two planes.
Right. If you're making me steelman this, I would say that the one is at a higher altitude and it is going to act aerodynamically different than one that is at a lower altitude.
Why?
Because when you are higher away from Earth's orbit, you're going to have less friction.
Why do they have to have heat shields?
Because you are moving at an insane rate of speed.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But to go to that great rate of speed with that aerodynamic.
If you were going 17,500 miles an hour, like on the salt flats, it would melt. It would melt. The entire thing would melt. That
goes. All I can tell you is.
But that didn't go to the moon either.
No, but it was traveling 17,500 mile an hour.
Right.
I'm not talking about where it went.
Right.
I'm talking about aerodynamically.
Right.
That goes against everything that I was taught drag racing.
And a big part of it is using Earth's gravity against itself. So, that's how the space shuttle works.
Regardless, Jonathan, not arguing with you. Regardless, we're looking at running a needle through the air. You agree?
Of course.
And a sheet of plywood.
Right. You're at to steelman this, you're at a...
They're both running basically the same altitude. If that there is a blackbird, which he don't look like a blackbird to me.
I can't remember the name of it. I should have put it on there.
I don't think...
No, the altitude is extremely different.
But, all right, so that right there, what you're telling me...
86,000 feet.
Yeah, so you're telling me everything that you just stated about the altitude and the water and the air being thinner and you can go faster in space... Every bit of that, what you just told me, came from the person you just said was lying to us.
Was a Nazi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you basing your information from a liar that I have to question because if he did tell me the truth, then I wouldn't know if he told me the truth.
Right. That's an ad hominem fallacy.
I guess it's Paul, guys, your friend.
That's an ad hominem fallacy because what you're saying is you're attacking that a person cannot speak truth even if they're a liar, which is obviously not true. So
no, I didn't say he couldn't.
Right.
I'm saying I have to question.
Yeah, what
Of
he's
course.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so,
that's what
but
he's
what
saying.
you're stating is, what you're stating that he may tell the truth or he may not, but he has been proven to be a liar.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that leaves everything at question.
I think everyone at this table agrees that NASA is lying. They've admitted that they've lied. I mean, they are liars, and we can also probably agree that it's a slush fund for government money. If you start doing the math,
There's some
with the
guy on
money-
here
We may find out in the next few days.
I hope.
Somebody named Paul says there's no aerodynamics in space. Heat shields for entry. He don't know much about aerodynamics.
Yeah.
He's not been to aerodynamic
Yeah.
class like I have. I'm not arguing with this guy.
And I'm going to tell you something. You wouldn't believe how
and
much.
I'm glad. Let me say, I'm glad this guy's watching my show, but he doesn't know anything about aerodynamics. I'm saying that.
Let me
Go
tell
ahead.
you,
I do know. I've been
I
there.
did feel a little bit of NASCAR, and you wouldn't believe how much one piece of duct tape
Oh, yeah.
would change.
Exactly.
Now I'm talking about on the ground
Sure,
now.
yeah.
So we're
Yeah, of
talking about
course.
but one piece of duct tape. Completely changes
The feel of a car, the handling
feel
of
of
a
a
car.
car.
I've been 200 mile an hour in my drag car that I built at Memphis.
legally.
Legally, on the
yeah.
drag strip.
Yeah.
200 mile an hour. Matter of
maybe
fact,
you're
it
running
was
from the police.
202 mile an hour, dead stop a quarter mile. So how fast my drag car run. A quarter mile, 202 mile an hour, dead stop. 60 foot was 0.98, if anybody out there wants to know. And the windshield blowing in, and that's when we was trying to get faster and faster, and we went to an aerodynamics class. Then they carried us to a wind tunnel and showed us what wind does. Put the car on scales, run the air at 200 mile an hour, run the air at 215 mile an hour, and they could run air at 350 mile an hour.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And it told us where the weight was at on the car. We learned. It wasn't my car on there. It was a car they had in
Right,
there.
yeah.
So we went back and applied what I learned to my car. And I picked up 3 mile an hour. No engine change, just aerodynamically. So aerodynamics is a lot more than people understand. Hold your hand out the window, run down the highway 55 mile an hour, see how much pressure it takes to push it forward, and then run 100 mile an hour. It don't just take twice as much, it takes 25 times as much, because air does that to you. Unless it's all changed. Everything we was taught when we was a kid, they saying was wrong now.
Yep.
Yeah, they do.
Everything.
But go ahead and convince me and Jonathan. Go ahead with more of your stuff.
Well, that's basically, only thing I tell you is just to go look into it. Don't believe anything.
What would
I
you
say
tell
that-
me to go look? If I wanted to say, I want to test Tim, where would you tell me to go look?
Not NASA.gov.
No. What I've done is I put a collaboration of videos on my website.
Yeah.
That, because I will tell you, there are plenty of decoys out there. There are plenty, and what I mean by that is they'll tell you that it's a fake NASA video, and they prove that they go in there to prove that it is right. So if you go to YouTube and you just start pulling it up, that's why I'll give you the guy's name, Brad, Sibrel. Mm-hmm. He is the one that done this for years before, actually got threatened, got poisoned, all this kind of stuff. He would be a good name to pull up because he's been on Joe Rogan, he's been on Patrick Ben-David, he's got books, and he's still alive. And he is the one, I think it was Buzz that hit him. Who hit him in the face?
No, I don't think he was Buzz. He
It was
may have been. What was the other guy?
I can't remember his name.
Somebody hit him when he walked
That's
up.
funny.
Well,
Yeah.
Seriously, I seen the video years ago.
wild.
He
Yeah.
walks up and said, "Put your hand on this Bible and swear to me you went to the moon." He said,
Yep.
"You SOB," and hit him.
Yep. Now he done every one of them that way.
Yeah, he did.
done every one of them, and none of them will put your hand on. Now that gives us the Bible a lot of significance. If an astronaut, let's just say if he's atheist or not, there's some power in that Bible
If they wouldn't put their hand
that
on.
they wouldn't put their hand on.
But in their defense, they say they get ambushed. They're sick of all them questions. But if y'all notice that everything that goes on in America, there's a conspiracy theories.
Yep.
Everything. I try to stay away from conspiracy theories. I really do. I want to think that
Man,
I want
you
to
got
think.
2 of them right here.
I know. I want to think.
Do you know where that word came from?
No, but let me tell you what I was going to say.
All right, go ahead.
I want to think that we walked on the moon. I want to think that Elvis is dead. I do want to believe it.
Well, I'm gonna go to church Sunday, and I'm gonna prove you.
I know, but you understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. I want to believe that. You want to believe what you hear on the TV, and you want to believe what you hear on the news. Do you not want to?
No.
You don't want to believe
No.
it? I do.
I mean, they've already.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. You're not listening.
You want
to,
yeah.
Yeah, you're not listening
wish
to what I'm
they'd tell
saying.
the
That's
truth.
right. I want to believe that's true.
Right. Yeah.
I want y'all are putting words I didn't say. I want you to understand. I want them to. I want to believe
tell the truth.
To tell the truth. When I turn on the news, I want to know that they're telling
exactly
me the truth.
right.
When I listen to my president or governor, whoever, I want to think they're telling me the truth. So. That's where we're at now. We can't believe nothing. How did we get here?
That's why you're sitting in a chair right now.
That's
Is
right.
because you took the place of the major news networks.
That's right. Because I give everybody a chance to talk
Yep.
and tell me what you can be. But everybody has got a conspiracy. I believe that they're spraying stuff in the air. I put a post on Facebook today about that.
I'm gonna get you somebody on here
because I was watching when I come home and there was not a. I'm going to work one more. There's not a cloud in the sky except what those airplanes was leaving, and they don't leave. They stay there. They turn into clouds and stay there for all day. It just blows my mind. When I was a kid, Jonathan, you remember seeing those trails come out of them airplane? They just spray it and go away. They're turning into clouds now. I don't know what that's all about. I'm just telling you what I see. I'm not saying anything, but I see that. But there's any word, anything you want to believe, you can get on this thing we call cell phone or computer or internet.
Your brain's in your hand.
And you can find anything to say what you want to. If you want to believe that we didn't go to the moon, I can find stuff that says we didn't. If I want to say we did go to the moon, I can find stuff that says we can't.
That's right.
What part's lying?
You have to have your own discernment.
What do you think, John? Which part's lying?
I think Tim's right. You have to have discernment.
That's right.
You have to look into it. What you do is you go in and look at everything, and you take the meat and leave the bones.
Yeah.
And you have. I mean,
But
there's
that
things,
also makes more conspiracies.
Well,
You're not arguing with nobody. I'm just giving y'all something to think about how my mind works. I was told a lot of things in my life about different things, and I found some of it to be true. Some of them old wise tales was true.
Oh yeah.
Some of them old remedies. My mother being Indian, some of the medicines she taught me about it come out to be true.
Yep.
But some things my father told me was not true. It was just old wise tales. But you want to believe everything.
Yep.
It's human nature to believe, I think. But we've turned it into the last generation to everything you hear is a lie.
Well, you
think about it. How many times you turn on the TV, which, John, I don't think you watch TV much, you said no more.
No.
But if you did, you turn on the TV, the weather. Okay, take the weather, for example. They're 50-50.
Yeah.
There's never have to be right. Weather's 50-50.
I follow Sean's weather page
I do
for
too.
that reason.
Yeah, that's right.
He's more accurate.
Yeah, but they're not. They're not accurate. They're 50-50.
Yeah,
It's nothing. Nothing's 100%. But you can find anything you want to on the internet to back up what you believe.
That's right.
So that's why I'm asking you, Tim. We're running out of time, but if I was looking at you and say, Tim, I don't believe a damn word you said, what would you look at me and say to try to convince me that we didn't go to the moon, other than just go look it up? Is there any one thing?
That is all you can do is just go.
You plant that seed.
That's all I done is plant a seed.
What
for
would
you
you
to
tell
go
them to look for?
I would tell them basically the guys that have the books. There's all kind of. It's on my website.
Put that website back up of his.
You go to bonafidetruth.com and you just click on it and go to. Matter of fact, it covers all the conspiracies. The word conspiracy theory actually come out in '65 after the Kennedy assassination, and the CIA is what came up with the word conspiracy theory is because nobody believed that. What's his name that got killed?
John Kennedy?
No, the shooter.
Oswald?
Yeah, nobody believed it then. Nobody there believed it. But when people started talking out like we do, we became conspiracy theorists. Right. Okay? The word April Fool. Do you know the reason we have the word April Fool? No. So Constantine changed the calendar back in Constantine's day. And actually the first day of the year used to be April 1st. But Constantine, being with the Catholic Church, changed it to January 1st. And anybody that came along and said, I'm going to stick with God's calendar because spring should start the new calendar, the Catholics called them April Fools, that they're going with the old system. And that is how you came up with April Fool's Day. Anybody with any biblical sense would know that springtime should
supposed to be the beginning.
Exactly.
So
you go back and you look at these words that they put in our vocabulary, and I mean, we could talk about rabbit holes all day long,
right.
But I just wanted, what I wanted to do is I want somebody, and my email's on there, come back and prove to me I'm wrong.
Right.
All right, so one thing I will tell you that I done that kind of got me in this whole deal, and they had flat earth debates, and just like I said, I'm not a flat earther, I'm a non-spinner. I do not believe we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. Over 5 years ago, on podcasts just like this, I would come in and I would put up 10 grand. And I have still got my 10 grand to prove to me that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. And I do not believe that simply because of what I've been told. Now, I'll gladly give somebody that if they can take me up high enough. If they can take me up high enough and prove to me that we're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. But, you know, my redneck logic thinking, okay, I don't know where the sky stops and space starts. So I believe that I can go up high enough in a hot air balloon and 24 hours later be back home. Somehow or another, okay? That's just my redneck logic thinking.
You think if you left the Earth, the
Whether
Earth
it be a
should spit out
helicopter,
spit out from under you.
Yeah, that somewhere, and my daughter is the one that came up with this years and years ago. She looked at the picture of the globe. She said, how did she take that picture with it spinning and you was out here? How did you take a picture? If I got you right now to spin that globe, and I took a picture of it.
Grab the globe. Right there.
Yeah, if we could take a picture of it with it spinning, okay. This is what really got me on this whole deal that people put me
Wait a
in.
minute, you
Put
want me
me
to
in
spin
the,
it?
Well, all right, so I'll tell you what you do. We're gonna let him spin it, and you throw this and hit Houston. I mean, really. Now think about this. You spinning at what? 3 miles an hour?
I doubt if I'm doing 3 miles an hour.
But you understand?
Sure.
Something. All right. So we're taught that there is something out here that moves with the atmosphere. Okay.
Right.
All right, so we're moving with this, and that's why airplanes can fly back and forth and not be hindered by the Earth spinning.
Right.
So we're told we're under this Orion belt or whatever the case may be. Now, if we went outside of this, somewhere, we're going to walk into a wind tunnel that is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. All right, so let's just say we're coming from space, and that is spinning, and there is something happened because something has to take place where this goes and gets into the atmosphere. You understand? Where it catches on. All right, so thinking about this, if you were sitting there looking, if we had a treadmill, I don't like them. I don't even want them in my house. But I'm telling you, I've seen them before at the gym. Is you turn the treadmill on, you turn it on wide open. Fast it'll go. 25 mile an hour, I think. And you step on it at any angle, you're going to fall down, right?
Sure.
Okay. So they're told us in school that there's an atmosphere on the outside of this spinning also.
Right.
And then we can go outside of that and take a picture of this planet. They're telling me this. They're taking a picture of this planet, and it's as clear as that globe is right now. But if you spun that, if we had us a drill here and we could spin it at 10 miles an hour and I took a picture of it, it wouldn't be clear. But NASA gives us clear pictures of a globe spinning from outer space. You understand?
Sure.
All right, so my question is, and I'm just raising questions.
Sure.
Is this Orion's belt or this orbit or this whatever they want to call it that's around it that moves with us? Yeah, that moves with us. How, for one thing, how do we get out of it to where we can come out here and look at that globe spinning? You understand?
Right.
And how do we take a picture? How did we take a picture? I don't care what camera we got. We can have the best camera. Now, we're talking about cameras in '69. But the cameras now, if you spun that ball, you can go buy any camera you want to. I'll pay for it for you. If you spin that ball at 10 miles an hour, you're not going to see a clear spot on that globe. Just like a basketball, you can't read Spalding on it while it's spinning. But NASA has given us pictures of a clear spinning globe that they admit is fake on their website, that they say it is CGI because they couldn't get a clear picture. I don't believe there is a picture. All right, so that's why I question what are we setting on that does not move. Okay, that is my whole point. Is when I was 15 years old, and I said there ain't no way that I hit no satellite in the sky. And that's all I got to say.
Well, I'm going to tell you, he's got some questions.
Definitely.
So think about this: if you had a dart gun, or if you had a BB gun, and we set it right there on the end of that table, and I told you to hit Houston, and you spun it, you can spin it at 1 mile an hour for all I care. You'd be better off spinning it at 1,000 miles an hour because you'd probably have a better chance of hitting it than you would be at 1 mile an hour.
Yeah.
But think about that. NASA has told us that.
I do agree that I have read somewhere years ago. I think you said that rung a bell. Maybe you have that. All the pictures we see of Earth is artificial.
I think that this is one of the things that they've admitted on their
Yeah,
website.
That the Earth pictures is because they always look blue and crystal clear, and I always wonder, damn, that's a bad camera.
The same with all the nebula pictures and all the pictures of space with all
That's
the pretty
right.
colors.
Yep.
They've sent. Yeah, these are all doctored.
I guess to the conclusion, if we want to conclude the show, is both of y'all would admit that NASA has lied to us.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Okay, so now you just take that
and multiply it.
And multiply
and
it
just
a lot. By
that's all I
billions of
wanted to
dollars.
do is come on the
Billions.
show and explain that. I bought that globe when I was challenged by Greg Locke.
Yeah.
I bought that, and I was going to go up after Dean on the and I said, y'all explain to me. I'm not claiming anything. Explain to me how that I can throw a dart and that thing's spinning and I can hit it. And that's all I want to say is,
Yeah, you're talking about a spaceship coming in.
Yep.
And wanting to land in the ocean. How are they hitting
Oh
that?
no! Now with this thing hick-a-jig right here, we got a problem, Houston. They did have a problem because they didn't know where the hell they was at. But anyway, this is what that is all I wanted to say is somewhere there is a treadmill in space running at 1,000 miles an hour that we have got to hit and get jerked into this atmosphere.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that Orion's belt. It's not the Orion's belt. Tell me in the back what it's called.
The Van
Allen.
That's
the
right.
Van
That's
Allen
right.
belt.
Whatever
is
they call it.
It's spinning around, and it's carrying all the stuff we see in it.
Exactly right.
Okay, and so we're in that, and we've got to somehow or another get off that conveyor belt.
Yep.
And hit Houston.
And what we got to do is go in.
Yeah. Get on the belt.
And get on the belt at 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And not have any action, no reaction. And nobody in NASA ever spoke of that. None of them astronauts ever said, you know what? When I was out there and it's spinning, I was kind of scared to step my foot on that belt, whatever it was.
Yeah. Van Allen
No,
belt.
yeah. Nobody mentioned that was spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and I'm out here looking at it, and I can take clear pictures of it. Yeah. And it's just there's something there that just don't add up to this old hillbilly here.
Right.
One of the viewers asked if you believe SpaceX is faking it too.
I believe. Now this goes into a whole different thing. I believe that NASA may be one of the ones that is called out soon, and I believe that it ain't going to be a changing of the guards; it will be a changing of the players.
Can I just say how SpaceX gets all their money?
How's that?
The government. Yeah. Surprise.
So you understand,
surprise.
if this lie of NASA gets worn out and nobody believes it anymore, they've already got the replacement.
Yeah, Elon did not just go off and build rocket ships.
That's exactly
he got
right.
Huge government contracts.
And now think about this now. Let's just say that I'm Elon.
There's somebody else competing against him.
Yeah.
What's his name?
The
Bill?
other billionaire.
What's his name?
The Amazon guy.
Yeah.
Bezos.
Yeah.
He's wanting to send them.
All right, so think about this now. What if we think? Well, let me ask you a question.
Well, ask you this
if
way.
me and you shot up a rocket,
Yeah.
how would we even know where it landed?
You won't.
Now, if we shot up a rocket and the Earth was spinning at 1,000 miles an hour and it did come back to Earth, how would we ever know where it was going to land? Now, Elon, he can do it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But me and you can't.
I don't know,
Me and you
maybe.
can't shoot a pistol in the air without getting arrested.
I think you throw enough money at it. Yeah.
Yeah, he catches his rockets.
Does he?
Yeah, he shoots them
money.
up,
Yeah.
and they come back down. He catches them. I don't know how high he goes. But you said something
I saw
about
him on Joe Rogan. He got pretty high there. So
yeah. I did see that. But you did say something that made me think. And Jonathan, you explained this to me. He did. You did want to plant a seed. I'm going to tell you something, and you help me see if you understand. That thing is spinning, right? And you let a hot air balloon go up, or a helicopter where you can control it. You stay up straight above for an hour. How come you come right back down to the same spot?
Again, I think
Do you think the atmosphere spins with it?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we get out space?
So when do
Where do we go? Where does
that
the sky
spinning stop?
Where does the sky stop spinning and you're in outer space where you can look at it spinning?
So I mean, again, to steelman this, there is lower Earth orbit, there is upper Earth orbit.
Yeah, but what he's asking you is how far you have to get out.
I don't know the mileage.
Yeah, I mean, he's got me thinking now.
Hundreds and hundreds, if not
millions
thousands of miles. Well, no, because if you think about it, like the moon is orbiting our planet because of our gravity at 239,000 miles away.
Right. So how far you got to get away?
Yeah. So how
far you got to get away to get a picture of that?
Well, I mean, we have pictures of the Earth as the famous one, the tiny blue dot from Voyager 2.
Yeah, but they
say that's as far away as you can
This also comes from NASA.
Again, I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
He's playing
the only thing I want to know is where the sky stops and where space starts.
Another question.
One thing I want to ask you
when you're talking about that spinning Earth, you got me questioning. Why ain't we got wind? 100%, like Nebraska.
Yeah, I think that's all in the lower atmospheres. Yeah. Because if you ask any pilot this, they're going to say once you get above clouds, you're going to not have the conditions, the atmospheric condiens change. Like once you get above a certain point, if
the
you're
wind's
flying an
worse
airplane,
up there. I flew in out of L.A. to Denver. And it sounded like 10 grown men whooping on the side of that airplane with sledgehammers. So I know it's up there.
But what I'm getting at is
you flew out of high. You're flying to Denver. It's awful. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I'm getting at is you can get above the actual storm systems that produce wind.
You're right.
So yeah, like in an airplane right now. Yeah.
But we can't get up there to where we can see the world spin.
I don't disagree. We've yet to really have a clear picture of that. So
another thing is too that NASA in Hebrew. Do you know what that means? NASA. You can look it up. You can Google it if you want to. The word NASA in Hebrew means to deceive.
Really?
Google it right now.
Google it, John.
National Aeronautic Space.
But he says what is
in Hebrew?
Yeah.
In Hebrew.
I don't speak Hebrew, man.
Just translate
it'll say you can say translate to Hebrew.
Translate to Hebrew.
Or you can look it up. What does
NASA mean in Hebrew?
I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
Yeah, ask it. Just ask it. I'll do it on my phone too. What does NASA mean in Hebrew? Right, you said
the
right.
NASA in the word NASA in Hebrew.
I'm going to say, what does NASA mean in Hebrew?
Can I just do one caveat real quick?
Yeah.
So Constantine wasn't Catholic. He didn't change the calendar. They met at Nicaea in 325 to determine when Easter was. That was a big ordeal.
And I'm going to tell you something. There's some
truth. It was the second moon of Nisan, which I don't know what that means, but yeah, esoteric.
Right here it says, NASA in Hebrew means to lead astray. But
to deceive, yeah.
I'm going to see if well, another one says right here, it says to lift up, to take up, and carry. See, that's what I'm talking about. There's two. I'm on the same damn computer. One of them says one thing, one says another. I could argue either side of that game.
That's right.
It says right here, I'm looking at one of them, it says NASA, Hebrew means to lead astray or to devise. And then right below it, another one says Hebrew word for NASA means to lift up or take up or carry.
Yeah, that's what ChatGPT is saying in Hebrew. NASA is a verb that means to lift, to carry, or bear. It appears frequently in the Bible in context. So.
Yeah. But you can go around here everywhere, and you look somewhere else. If you go on down, you'll find.
But it can also mean bearing guilt of sin. So there you go.
It's everywhere you look, dude.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, that's the bad thing. These phones. We just proved our point. I found
you're exactly right.
If you and I want to argue about it, like I say, I'm looking at it right here. It says to deceive. You can say, I'm looking at it right here where it says to lift up. What do we do, John?
I don't speak Hebrew, so yeah.
No, who do you believe?
So, I would probably believe someone that speaks Hebrew.
Yeah. We got anybody out there speaking Hebrew?
Yeah.
Type in right now if you speak Hebrew and tell us your interpretation of what NASA means.
I hope I planted a seed or two.
Yes, sir.
You made me wonder, about the Earth spinning.
Hey, and thanks for coming in, Tim, for driving all this way and doing this.
Well,
this has been awesome, man.
I'm going to do my own deal. I got some things, cooking in the pipeline that I put off for a while.
Now, you've been all over podcast, TV. You spoke about that preacher a while ago. What was his name?
Greg Locke.
Yeah, are you friends with him?
I was
Y'all ain't
until the debate.
Okay, what happened?
Well, I put a
Tim Locke, you know who he is?
yep.
He's a
No,
big-
it's Greg Locke.
Greg Locke. He's a big internet preacher, I guess.
Yeah,
Ain't he?
well, he was.
Okay.
Actually, what got me on that stage, I didn't make it to the stage. He stopped the event before it was a debate. He put up $30,000 of church money, and
Nice.
and he was gonna he
Jeez,
challenged
ball.
Dean Odell and anybody that Dean wanted to bring with him, and there was a couple thousand people there, and
Challenged what?
challenged a flat
Arm
Earth
wrestling?
to the biblical flat Earth, because they call it biblical cosmology.
Okay.
And then what happened is Dean got up there, and what there was no mediator. All right, so when we got there, we was told to show up, and I brought my own Starlink. I don't know which star it links to, but it's a Starlink, and because I was told.
I like that one.
That slipped in, yeah.
All right, so and because I knew that if this didn't go the way he wanted, that it was going to be taken down, and I was exactly right, because he took it down the same night, and there was a debate that lasted a couple hours, and they sat down on the stage, and Greg was doing everything he possibly could to piss Dean off.
I think there are clips on YouTube.
Oh yeah, they are. They plenty of them.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, and so they took a break. Dean said, let's just stop it and let me get my part out. So I walked up there and I told Dean that what angers you controls you. And then that's what the Lord told me to tell him. And then I kicked in my part. So I said, call him a damn midget and piss him off. The truth is, think about this from our history, the first one that flies off the handle loses the argument.
Usually.
All right. So, that being said, I went up there and told Dean. Dean done his whole spiel. And then Greg Locke gets up there with a damn level, holding a level up. like you can't hold a level up on a spinning earth. You understand? Mm-hmm. That was his deal. But basically, it got to the point to where the only person that was standing up when Greg Locke would make a statement was his wife. So he knew then that he had lost his $30,000. So him and Dean went back at it again, and they talked about supposedly there was something that was mistranslated, a scripture that was mistranslated in the Bible. And Greg Locke says, turn his mic off, it's over with. All right, so I think that it was a setup for, I don't want to say like January 6th, but yes, where they gathered all these people, these conspiracy theorists, these flat earthers, and they put them all under one tent, and they was there to make them mad to where they would cause a riot.
Right.
All right? It did not happen that way. All right? So when Dean, when he said cut Dean's mic off, Dean tossed it to him underhandedly like this. That's the famous video that's all over the internet. And we walked out peacefully, and we did gather, and we was, upset. One thing, I didn't get my $30,000, and I brought mine with me in cash.
You didn't get to talk, though.
I didn't even get to talk,
Right.
but he knew I brought the money.
Right.
So, anyway, what happened after that is we walked out in the parking lot, and the next thing you know, the police is there telling us to leave, and they're telling us that. So the next day, this is really what put the nail in the coffin. Is the next day, they done a article or a report, whatever it's called, to talk about what happened the night before, and they had to give a reason that they took it off the internet. Okay, so they said it was so ridiculous that they took it down, but Tim had a copy of it. You understand?
Yeah.
I brought my own camera crew, and so that is the ones that went viral, everywhere. But they put it out there that there was a riot. They put it out there that we was doing donuts in the parking lot and everybody was smoking pot, and that's a bold-faced lie. And then even his congregation knew after they put that statement out the next morning that he lied, because they was there too.
Right.
And that is the last time that church had 2,000 people in it. That, as a matter of fact, the church is for sale now. The tent is down, and he's in a little old building about this size right here. Can't fill it up.
Huh.
And that's been that was December That was a little bit over a year ago.
I knew he was popular at one time.
He was, and then I mean, there's other things that went on, but I mean, we actually thought when I was there, I knew his head of security, I knew his bouncer. I mean, I knew everybody there was flat Earth. Everybody there, everybody I knew, right? And I knew he had mentioned it because we mentioned it on the bus before. He never really made a comment about, if it was or wasn't. But then his son comes home, supposedly, and says, Daddy, I think the Earth's flat. And then he calls me out and Dean out on the from the pulpit on October the 22nd. And then the next day, 2-3 days later, then he says he's going to have a debate. And then we had the debate, and that was basically the end of the story.
Really? Well, you've been on a lot of different podcasts doing it. I looked a little bit up.
Well, I've been on a few. I was with Doug with Frog Network for a while.
Right.
Me and him would do a show every day.
Right.
I mean, one of the reasons that I haven't done this full time is it is a job.
It's a hell of a job.
It is getting everything lined up and getting.
You ought to do this again.
Yep.
Yeah. You got to have him back. Do this again.
And then,
yes, it's been a great show.
One thing I want to tell you is I'm not completely retired. My businesses are not on autopilot yet.
Right.
Okay. I want to be a consultant full time where I can come tell you, I can give you all my ideas for your restaurant to make it packed.
Yeah.
All right. But it ain't there yet.
Right.
And doing a podcast, I don't want to do it unless I can do it right.
I understand.
And I want to.
You don't want to Mike Weatherford it, do you?
No, you're doing a great job. I mean, this is awesome. So you set a day.
Yeah.
You set a day that I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And my deal is I don't have days because I don't know where I'm going to be at.
I understand.
So I'm going to do it. I'm going to set it. Matter of fact, I told you I'm going to do it from my motorhome.
That's right.
Where I can be anywhere in the world, and and you can talk just like we are right now.
Yeah.
But other things has got to take place a little bit.
I understand autopilot.
Yeah.
I have a business too, and you just struck on something. Out of all three of us, I'm probably the one that does a podcast every week.
Yep.
And it's not I walk in here 10 minutes till the show time.
That's right.
I work every day.
Well, look how much research y'all done on me since y'all heard about me.
Yeah.
I mean,
you
y'all
called
probably
me.
know more about me than I do.
You called me.
Yeah.
You called me after you watched the show I did with the Nathan guy about flat Earth. And you said, "Hey,
right.
I want to talk about the moon."
Because Nathan is so technical.
Yeah.
That he went over people's head.
He did.
He went over my head.
Yeah.
All right. And I've heard them all. I've heard all the arguments. But the one thing about it is I wanted to come here.
Yeah.
And I planted a seed by that spinning globe.
You done
and
a
that's
lot.
what I was wanting to do
Yeah.
on that debate is I want to spin that globe and tell me to hit it.
Right. Yeah. I got to say, I don't want to use your cat like. I'm pretty good at nailing people down.
Yeah.
I haven't tried real hard because I kind of like you. You're
Yeah.
a nice guy, but he's hard to pin down.
Hey,
You know what I call it?
He's 3-dimensional fighter.
I call it undercover Jesus.
Yeah. He's a 3-dimensional fighter. You can't hem him up. Because, Jonathan, you did a little bit, and he gets out of that corner. He's not going to be like some people sit and argue with. You know what I'm saying?
I will say this. I am personally going to view next year the 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I'm going down there.
Yep. All right, now
And
that
I'm
right there,
excited.
when I tell you about a psyop, okay?
No, I'm telling you, I'm
what I'm telling
personally
you,
going down
I understand
there.
that.
Yeah.
All right, so get your pocketbook ready.
Yeah. Oh,
All right,
it's
so
already paid for. Yeah.
From what I was told, it was $30,000 a ticket for these guys. Now, I know friends of mine that are big into flat Earth, and they got invited, and they said, "Nah, this, just like you talk about discernment, somebody write about this right here. All right, I can take you right now to Alaska and show you the exact same thing in the opposite time of the year. There's a 24. It's daylight. All right, but when a preacher named Will Duffy, and he has got these multiple lawsuits against him, okay? Let's just say we know about people getting turned when they get in a little trouble, all right? And then he all of a sudden becomes I'm the globe preacher, and I'm going to prove all these flat earthers wrong, okay? That's going to be my life. And he sits here and preaches on Sunday. And basically I can show you clips of where he said that lying is not a sin. Okay? Now, think about this. If you're a preacher at a church and and I've got people that done this and will listen to the whole thing for a year. Not one single baby cried, not one single cough, not one single interaction with the audience. But he's up here on the pulpit, and then the next thing you know, he's got lawsuits for hundreds of thousands of dollars that are going to be taken from him. And he comes up with $500,000 just to go to Antarctica and say, I'm going to bring me a couple flat earthers with me, and I'm going to set this whole deal up. Now, you asked a while ago, where did NASA's money come from? Me personally, because I have been approached myself when I've got in trouble years ago. What they do is they say, look, we're going to sweep this under the rug. If I need you, I'll call you. All right? You understand?
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I knew you would. And then we want you to go do this. Now, I think, let's just say 80% of this is where my meter is I believe that exact same thing happened because of other things that I know happened at the Flat Earth Debate in Nashville. I think somebody got in trouble and they got turned and they said, let's pull this off. So you think about this. How big would it have been if we did have a riot and we did turn into January 6th and people got hurt at that event?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Now my question is why are they pushing this so bad that they don't want nobody to know? Why is the government, NASA, whoever it is, they want to push back? All right, so if you Google it right now, if you go to YouTube and put in the word flat earth, there's a warning under the video that says, this is a conspiracy theory and don't you ever believe it. Now, it ain't like the flat earthers are terrorists and they're out here with guns and they're molesting children or anything like that. Most of them I know are great Christian people, all right? But there's something out there that is telling you not to look at it. Don't look into it. Don't look into why that globe is not spinning really. Don't even look into it. So the proof that I know that God is real is because I know there's evil out there.
Yeah.
And I know there has to be a yin and yang. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that he's going to do everything he can to keep you from looking over here at truth.
That's right.
And that is proof. The proof to me that we're not spinning, or I don't know if we're on a flat earth or whatever, but I'm telling you the proof is the offense
Against you.
Against me.
What are they trying to hide?
They're trying to hide the Creator.
Yeah, I know it's what you're. I know what you're saying.
They're trying to hide the Creator, whether you believe it or not. I mean, I hope I planted a seed about it spinning, but they don't want you to know that the Bible, the Scriptures, are real.
I can believe that.
And if we look at Genesis 1, he separated the waters from the waters. You know, what does that mean? I have no clue. The waters from the waters. Well, flat earthers believe that there's a ice dome that starts in Antarctica and goes over the whole earth. That's what they believe.
Right.
And I believe that we're not spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So I don't know which way to go, but I do believe that I can,
I'll call you January of 2026, and I'll let you know.
Yep.
When I get back.
Well, that right there.
I want for like 18 days, brother.
Right. So here's what I want to tell you is that is not going to prove that don't prove that we're not spinning.
No, I'm just telling you.
All right, so that right there.
I'm not going.
And I don't mind going. I'll go with you. I'll go with you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, But I'm gonna get some hiking boots on. I'm gonna keep on rocking.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're gonna get some snowmobiles.
I ain't going.
Yeah.
But I don't care about that moon. All I want to know is this right here. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Oh yeah, I love it. I got to come back. We got other subjects. We're gonna bring some professionals in here on chemtrails.
I want to. That's something I honestly. I'm 62 years old.
Yep.
And I have watched them airplanes. Now, I've got a good friend of mine, Wally DeBerry. He was a pilot, flew all over the world for FedEx.
Yep.
And he was explaining on Facebook what I was seeing. Wally, I love you if you're watching. Yeah, but I think you're wrong.
Yep.
Listen, you know, he was telling me where they come from, the altitudes and temperatures, exhaust. He flew all over the world.
Yep.
I've had him on my show before. That's how good of a pilot. He flew for FedEx all over the world.
Yep.
And told, you know, that's pretty amazing to fly all over the world for FedEx, all over the world. I'm not just exaggerating. He's been, you name it, he's been there.
The guy that I just talked to, Jim, and when we got us started, he would be a good one to come on here because he has studied all that stuff.
But I didn't ask him about flat Earth. I'm just talking about the globe. I was talking to when I put that post in pictures of them contrails turning into clouds. You know, everybody's smarter than me. I'm not real smart, but
the smartest man in the world knows he knows nothing.
That's right. I figured out that them. When I come in, and the airport's out there for a reason because it's open area. You can see a long way. I pass that airport twice a day, or if I go home more, and you know I can 5 times a day if I drive that far. That many times past there, I go by it every day, at least twice, and I can see for miles. And I can look up there, and I can see that contrail. You know what it is? You see it's a big old stripe down through there, and all of a sudden, you just go back and look a couple hours later. On my way back home, it's turned into a cloud. What the hell's that, Jonathan?
Yep.
It's just vapor trail. Why ain't it drying up and going away?
I think you got your next show lined up.
Yeah. I mean, but you see what I'm saying? I'm just questioning it. I'm not planning to say it. I just got to question what the hell.
That's what you got to do is.
Because when I was a kid, I don't know how high the airplanes are. They said they're flying lower. One guy said they're flying lower. That's why you see it more. Maybe it's something simple. I hope it is. But when I was a kid, I don't know how high that airplane was, but that trail's about that far behind it. It looked like. You remember? I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that's jet smoke.
Yeah, they didn't look that far behind it. It didn't go away.
I heard it was expensive.
Yeah, but it was about that far behind it. It just nothing back there. We used to watch it.
That's right.
And I remember I heard a sonic boom from a Commodore one time. Was up in a friend's house and we heard it. Boom. And it was all over the town the state we was in. They was talking about the Commodore. When you know that one that could fly faster speed of sound. You remember it?
Concorde.
Yeah.
I heard the sonic boom off one.
Commodores is a group from the 70s.
That's right.
Yeah.
I like
the Commodores are awesome. Yeah.
I like them, dude. Lionel Richie, he's my dude, man. Yeah, I know. But anyway, they're
in the back room from what we
they're
do.
confused anyway.
They're listening to the Commodores back there right now.
That's where I got that from. Kevin kind of looks like Lionel Richie. Did you notice that? The producer, he does resemble him. Maybe he don't resemble him. But anyway, you know, that's what I want to talk about. But I'm going to let you go. I appreciate you had a long trip, and I shake your hand.
Yep.
But I got something for you. Everybody comes on the show, they know this is home of the Brewer Street Mafia.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm going to give you something so you can go around telling everybody that you are an official member of the Brewer Street Mafia.
Yep.
There you go. Read what that says on it, brother.
You know I can't read.
Yeah.
The Mike Weatherford Show.
Right. What's the other side say?
Official member.
Of what?
The Brewer Street Mafia.
There you go. Now, and it's flat, like the earth.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a round one.
I'm going to take that clip right there. It's flat like the earth.
Clip it.
Yep.
Clip it.
That's right.
That was a joke. Put that part in there. If you'll take that thing I give you and you put 5 pennies with it,
It'll be worth 5 cents.
It's a nickel. I appreciate it again,
buddy.
Tim. I appreciate it. Brother,
Good to see you,
did you have fun?
As always.
Hey,
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I got to ask you a question here, a serious question.
Sure.
Is Logical Podcast on the verge of relaunching?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to make some money off the internet.
That's right.
Yeah, and I got to stop posting on Facebook because no one understands what I'm saying. And
Nobody does.
I know, and this is such a better medium to do that as for me to do it on video and to actually articulate and be able to.
You got to explain it to people.
Yeah, you got to explore ideas. It takes.
I'm proud of you. One thing, I didn't have to use my handcuffs. Nobody knows what I'm talking about.
I know.
You
Thanks,
know
Mike.
that or my
Thanks,
rope. I didn't
Mike.
have to use none of
Thanks,
that.
Mike. Yeah.
But you know what?
The
Love
taser
you.
hurt.
Yeah, the taser did hurt.
During
I'm
break,
sorry.
he tased me.
I had to because he mouthed off and I tased. But listen, brother, I do
Absolutely.
love you. You
Love
know
you
that,
too,
man.
brother.
Yeah.
And Paris Station.
That's right. 7 days a week.
Awesome
Is it
awesome
not-
food.
What did you eat down there?
I ate a turkey meal.
Turkey milk.
That
Yes,
damn thing
sir.
is delicious.
That's Mike's favorite.
Oh,
And my
yeah.
wife said she eats Reuben's all
Yeah,
the time.
It was one of the best ones.
She said no. She said it was the best
Yeah,
one.
she-
I want to tell you, now he's
Yeah.
got some street tacos down there.
Yeah.
That if you ever get any on your lip, your damn brain, your tongue will beat your brains out trying to
Yeah.
get it off. But them good. Me and Dana was going to stop the other night and get him on the way home, but she was tired and I was tired, so we went home and probably popped.
Tard. They was tired.
Tired eating popcorn.
Tired of eating popcorn. She said, well, I had a meeting I had to go to, and the meeting got canceled. It was a show. No, that's what I'm saying. Doing a podcast, I want the viewers to understand, I do it for free. You know that.
Yeah.
I do not get paid to do this. It costs me money. And it's a lot of damn work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
It's not something I can do 5 minutes before time. Like, I'm working on, this is February, I'm working on March.
Yeah.
I've already got shows lining up for
And you're
March.
telling me to start mine back up as
Yeah.
you're telling me how much work it is.
But let me tell you something.
Not on Tuesday night.
And I run a muffler shop.
Yeah.
I've got other businesses I take care of.
You're saying this is so much work, and then you're like, John, go ahead and start your podcast.
What would it hurt?
No, I need a good outlet.
What kind
That's
of
right.
what kind of stuff do you cover?
Everything, mostly politics. I love
whatever. He
Yeah,
talk
but
about
everything.
I was big into
yeah.
that for a while.
But anything and everything, man. Anything and everything. We'd sit and talk flat Earth for an hour or whatever. It does not matter. I love to get people in that had an interesting story.
Yeah.
that was
what
my
I like.
favorite thing. That was my
Well,
favorite.
one
thing.
time you get yours deal to go up, and I'll come in and give my testimony.
I would love that.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Hey,
I
I
would
can
love
blow
that.
your mind on that
That'd
stuff.
be cool.
Yep.
But you're going to hook me up with some you know,
I'm gonna get you some folks in here on the
chemtrail.
chemtrails. I got a guy that can. I think you'll probably have to call in.
Yeah.
But
Zoom him in.
a nationalist,
You're right.
where you can basically, from what I'm told, that there is absolutely.
Is that sovereign citizen?
No. There's nothing to do with citizen.
Okay.
I've learned that much, so I don't want to talk out of turn. But from what I understand, that they cannot arrest you, and if they do, they have to pay you like $10,000 a night that you're in jail.
Hell,
Now,
I'm
if
owed
you
about
have
$1
not-
million by
Yeah,
now.
if you, I wish I could. Yeah, trust me.
That's a joke. I've never.
But-
Put the camera. I've never been arrested.
Yeah. But he's proven his point. And there's other people that I've seen that I know people that's got a new passport that says they're not an American citizen, and they go through the TSA as a diplomat. And they was not told. And so there's ways that you can, but very interesting content I could bring here to you.
You know, my show says it's all the things we all want to know about. That's the
right.
catch line of my show. But it seems like, Kevin, work on a disclaimer.
Yeah.
The views of my guests is not the views of us.
Yep.
Because we're going to start talking about sovereign citizens, nationalized citizens, and all that. You know, we need to clear ourselves.
As my daddy would say, ain't no such a thing.
That's right. There ain't no such a thing. All right, folks. There we go. We've had a good conversation with my friend. I just met him today. He drove 6 or 8 hours to get here just to be on the show, and I feel privileged to have it, and I'm privileged for having Jonathan come in here and talk with us. But he told me when he talked to me on the phone, he called me and he said, Mike, I watched your show, and I watched you talk to this guy about the flat earth. I'd like to come on and talk about the moon. I want to bring it down. He said, I said, look, just to be honest with you, you got to dumb it down for me. So he said, I'll come in and I'll dumb it down. I'm not going to sit here and argue with nobody. I'm just going to plant seeds and make you go look for yourself. Open your eyes and go look and see if what I'm saying makes sense to you. So you be the judge. Did Tim do a good job? Did he make you question anything? Or are you still saying, oh, no, the NASA's right, NASA's right? Did Jonathan, did he make you question anything?
I hope we all question that the government is lying to
That's
us.
right.
It takes a lot of money.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But I don't think about anything I say. I'm just kind of dumb. You know, don't expect much out of Mike. Because if you go around as dumb as I am, you don't ever have them say, ask Mike, because I hell don't ask him, he's dumb. So I don't ever get no problems. I'm just too dumb. They don't ask me nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just dumb. Don't ask Mike.
You
he's
can
dumb.
play that off on somebody that don't know, but everybody says they're dumb.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
It's playing dumb.
No, I'm pretty
Of
dumb.
course we've been lied to by the government. Okay, I get that. Of course you can fake pictures. I get that. Do I believe we went to the moon? No. And you ought to sue your brain for non-support if you do believe we went to the moon. Nobody ever went to the moon. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. 50 years and we ain't been back, got more technology in your hand that they had to send a rocket up 50 years ago. Of course, we've never been to the moon, okay? We've never been to the moon, so go ahead and clip it and get me a Newsweek this week, whatever. Shut up.